Well, here's a rare sight. The captain is busy actually maintaining this vessel.
I'm not sure if you can count filling the diesel tanks as maintenance, but I'll take that. Yeah, the work never ends for the captain. It's been really good actually. We've hardly used any diesel the whole time we've been in San Blas. We've been there 4 months and used 25 gallons, a whole 25 gallons. So I'm just filling up both of our below deck tanks with diesel for the journey to Colombia. We think the journey to Cartagena will leave us motoring maybe about 8 or 10 hours. Towards the end, the winds get pretty light, but more on that later. So for now, I'm just setting us up so I don't need to faff around with it on the journey. Overall, that's one of the reasons we love sailing in San Blas so much. You got good, reliable trade winds the whole time, so you can sail everywhere, and we did.
This is actually a fantastic anchorage waiting for the weather window. Snug Harbour offers 360-degree protection, so whatever comes at you, you are in a really calm anchorage. So we're watching the weather like hawks, and it looks like that we will be able to leave in exactly 48 hours. So one more day of relaxing for me. Obviously, I'll make sure that he's busy doing the preparations for the long and hard passage.
Well, that's it. The last thing to go, our beloved paddleboard. Looking rather sorry and limp right now. I just let all the air out of it. I'm going to deflate them both so they're not on the rails hanging over the side of the boat for our passage, just in case it's a little bit rougher than anticipated. The other thing coming down, rather sadly, are our San Blas flags. Yeah, it's definitely time to leave. All good things come to an end. Okay, well, it's the afternoon before departure and everything's going according to plan, including the weather. We're off to South America tomorrow morning. The weather is looking pretty good. We should have a passage time of around about 30 hours. I think that's a little bit optimistic. That's according to this fantastic computer program, which downloads the weather, and you can put in your boat parameters, boat speed. It'll also take into account the current and the forecast for the next 7 days. So the passage plan it's suggesting is headed straight out to the Colombian islands, an island called Isla Tintipan, and we're going to be expecting a close reach most of the way. We're going to see as we get out there just how bad the current is. I think the worst part about this passage is that we're forecast to have up to 1.1, 1.2 knots of current pretty much on the nose towards the end of it. So the real question is, do we have a northerly route which kind of points straight to Cartagena where we want to go, or do we cut below that and figure out if we can ride a bit of current going the other way as we arrive? The wind that we're forecast is actually pretty light, definitely on the light side for the jib that we're going to be flying. We're expecting no more than about 20 knots apparent, but I think most of the time we're going to have a lot less than 15 knots. So we'll probably be motoring a little bit to finish off. So everything's looking good for departure. It's pretty much come through according to plan, and we're erring a little bit on the side of caution with this window. So if anything, we'll have too little wind, I think, rather than too much. But we're all prepared. The dinghy's lashed down securely on the foredeck. Water tank is empty. Paddle boards are gone. New haircut. So we're going to be very low drag going into that weather. Yeah, should be good. Bring on South America.
Well, there we are, day of the departure, 5 AM. I'm making my famous mufflet, and I open a jar of flour and it's full of evils. Not the thing I want to see this morning, but hey, so happy that actually I keep most of my flours in separate containers. So if I buy one which is contaminated, it stays contaminated in this airtight jar. So I'm just gonna send them off on their last voyage into the sea, and I use different flour for the mufflet. Although I did consider providing extra protein for the captain, but I'm not that mean this morning. Not me. Here we go. Note to yourself, don't do this against the wind. Their last voyage. Goodbye, Weevils, you shall not be missed.
Well, good morning, good morning. The captain's finally awake. Only joking, I wasn't sleeping really. Looking at the weather, busy looking at the weather in my mind with my eyes closed. So the boat is ready, the crew are almost ready, and the weather's looking okay, but we got a little bit more wind than I would have liked and that I was expecting from the forecast yesterday. So it should be fine. I think it's just going to make for a little bit less comfortable crossing, especially in the early hours of tomorrow morning, which is probably the worst time to be uncomfortable. So it is what it is. It's still, I think, a good window. It's just not going to be quite as good as the captain was hoping for. After that though, it calms down pretty fast, and then like by 5 AM tomorrow we'll probably have too little wind, so it's going to be short and quick. That's what the captain's hoping for.
Captain this, captain that. Let's see whether I'm gonna calm down as fast as that wind this morning, huh? I am not very happy actually. I'm begging to delay, but apparently we'll be okay. I can see crushing swell over there. I have taken anti-seasickness pill and I have eaten very little, so you know, fingers crossed. But if I have to go down below onto the sick bed, I will have to do that. That 35-hour shift for him. Yacht master, Captain Know-It-All.
If you enjoyed this episode, you can now buy the crew a drink directly. Just look for the thanks button below the video.
See, it looks all lovely and peaceful. We are in a super protected anchorage, and I'm just dreading what we're gonna find out there. Oh, fingers crossed. Only 35 hours to go. Hey, hey. Today is 2nd of April 2024, and I haven't had pretty much any meat since the 18th of December 2023. So that's the only thing I'm thinking about. When we get to Cartagena, I'm gonna treat myself to like roasted chicken or beautiful steak with lovely glass of wine. So that's the thought for the next 35 hours. What are you gonna be thinking about?
I think I'll mostly be concentrating on getting us there, don't worry. Yeah, looking forward to all the pleasures of land life as well. We haven't really been in any kind of development since December, so we're ready for a bit of city time, and Cartagena's a beautiful place to spend it in. We can sail right into the middle of downtown, and I just love being able to sail the boat into town and walk around and explore.
Cansada de andar, de no poder parar. Tus ojos se ven tristes, ya no sirve ni llorar. El sol volverá y te
Here we go.
That's me for the next 35 hours. On tack, hopefully.
Para poder
Well, the engine is off and we are sailing. We are pinching a bit because we need to get past that reef and the last island of San Blas. So far so good, but obviously we are still tiny bit protected by the reef. So let's see how this roller coaster will turn out.
It's been a long time since we last made a passage like this. See if the crew still remembers how. I don't think the first mate remembers his old tricks yet. He's still in the cockpit and not in bed. Give him 5 minutes.
Well, it's only 6:30 a.m. and I have woken up at 5 a.m. So, you know, I need to have a few hours on the fresh air, don't I, in the daylight before I retire down below for a refresh.
Urgent business down below.
I have made so much good food for this passage. In the morning we had a bit of an overnight oats. I made my famous muffler, Pedro's muffler, with a bit of jalapeno, and we also have little hard-boiled eggs, selection of vegetables and trail mix. Yum. So hopefully the swell is not going to be too much bigger than this and we can enjoy the food.
Good thing about this passage is that the galley had plenty of notice and they prepared some real treats. Looking forward to the muffler already.
Very good.
Well, we're 33 miles into the passage already. It's gone quite quick, but mainly because I've been napping in the cockpit. There's something about the swell that we've ended up getting. It's a really long rolling swell with some short wind waves mixed in. It's quite a jerky movement on the boat. There's something about it that's just sending us both straight to sleep. First mate's been experimenting with a new seasickness pill. Not that he suffers usually, but it's the first ocean passage we've done in a long time, so he's being a little bit overcautious. It's all going well. We've got about 130 miles left on the straight line route, but our course to avoid some of this nasty current out here is not going to quite be the straight line. So it's all good. The first part of this passage we didn't have quite enough wind. It was really light, but now that seems to have just filled in and it's come round to a nice beam reach. So the wind is fine, can't complain about that. The swell, I wish it would die down just a little bit. But it's going to get stronger before it gets weaker, according to the forecast at least. So yeah, it's not so bad in the grand scheme of things, as long as you've got a comfortable dog bed and a dodger to hide behind. The first mate had it right all along.
I'm all good. I'm cool as beans. That magic pill did wonders. Made me a bit sleepy, but you know, what else am I going to do, right?
Well, he could be busy in the galley, but apparently that pill also suspended the galley service.
Special thanks in this episode go to all of our patrons for diligently following the First Mate's Diary page by page. If you enjoyed this episode, you can now buy the crew a drink directly. Just look for the thanks button below the video. Thank you for watching and see you next time.